And you can see like it's became like Adam's best performing video. It's like over 40K now.
I think Instagram can be a fluke. A lot of people can dance, take off their shirt, and they're going to get views.
I 100% agree.
But YouTube is a beast that not many people understand.
The barrier to entry is so much higher. There's so much fewer competition.
You manage the channel for some of the most well-known SaaS founders and companies.
Yeah, probably the biggest name is Adam. He's a couple of notable names. Taylor Heron is also a really big one in the cold email space. Trigify, Max, and a bunch of others. He mentions RB2B in every single one of these videos that you can see here. Every single one of these videos mentions RB2B. So
if you listen to the gurus, their balance would be 80-20.
So inside one video, 70% of it should be the value. 30% of the video should be the call to actions, tying it back to your tool, etc. The format that we've seen work best is talking head. In general on YouTube, works better than podcast. A format in most cases. Can you use AI avatars or stuff like that? We've yet to see those works. At this point, it's not good enough. It's a big misconception when most people think about YouTube. They think, get a video editor who will edit my videos. But the only way to really nail YouTube is...
Lovely to have you with us, Samu. Welcome to Edbound with Kinna.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. So the first question I like to ask my guests is around how do they introduce themselves when they are with fellow entrepreneurs or investors? So how do you do it, Samu?
Yeah, so what I usually say is that I run a YouTube agency running the YouTube channels of over 40 B2B companies right now, mainly in the SaaS space. And what we have them do is, first of all, become an authority in their space using YouTube as a platform and long form video. And then on the other hand, turn that viewership, the traffic that they get from those videos into actual pipeline leads.
Hey, this is going to be such an exciting conversation. I have so many questions, but I think you're also trying to be a bit modest here. You mentioned 40 companies, but let me highlight for people who are listening to us that you manage the channel for some of the most well-known SaaS founders and companies. I think you've done it with Adam Robinson. You managed his channel. You've done it for a few very well-known SaaS companies. Would you like to highlight a few others that everybody would have heard of?
Well, yeah, probably the biggest name is Adam. He's great, and we've been working with him at this point, I think, for like 5 months or so, or a little bit more, and it's going great. And yeah, as I said, we work with 40 plus companies, a couple of notable names. Like some of them are SaaS companies, some of them are like service B2B service companies. Taylor Heron is also a really big one in the cold email space. He's basically the leading person right now when it comes to cold email for B2B and SaaS. Sam Dunning as well when it comes to SEO. He's working with the biggest and fastest growing SaaS companies as well. Coco AI, if you heard about him or heard about them, Jeremy Horowitz is the owner of that. We're working with them as well. Trigify, Max, and a bunch of others. So yeah, it's very exciting.
I have had a few guys out of these on my podcast too. So I think that's a commonality. But yeah, let's dive right in. I think you've over the years built this expertise, playbooks that help people crack one of the toughest mediums on the internet. I think Instagram can be a fluke. A lot of people can dance, take off their shirt, and they're going to get views. I mean, LinkedIn, you just teach a little bit and, sometimes you just hit the right person. But YouTube is a beast that not many people understand. So let's just begin there. Why is it a powerful channel for B2B companies, and why is it the right time to look at this channel to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. The main thing with YouTube is that it's so complex. There's so many components that it just makes it a lot harder to nail, especially for a company that maybe has limited resources, can afford to like hire a full-on YouTube team in-house or stuff like that. I always like to think about it in a way where, sure, YouTube is a lot harder. There's a lot more components to it, and it's a lot harder to get right than Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. But because of that, the barrier to entry is so much higher. There's so much fewer competition, and the reward at the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel is like so much brighter and like so much bigger, just because like it's harder to get there naturally. So yeah, I would say the main reason and the biggest benefit we see with YouTube is, I would say it's like twofold. So one of them is the nature that is long form video. So like the format of it. The reason it matters in our experience is that the companies that do content, the reason they do it is to get clients. So like to get more leads, make more revenue. And the way to do that is to like really build trust with people, which will accelerate the sales cycle, make them trust the company more and just buy easier. And that's really the reason why you would do content. And when you look at the different content formats out there, the type of content that makes it the easiest, like makes trust building the easiest, makes education the easiest, and makes this whole like sales process the easiest is long form video. Because in a 10 to 20 minutes like video format, you're able to go very deep in a very specific topic, they are also able to see your face, hear your voice. So that level of trust is there versus like text posts where it's just only there like reading words that you or AI wrote is very, very different. So that's one of the biggest reasons is the format of it just makes it really, really possible and really easy, I would say, compared to other content formats to build trust and actually educate and convert your leads and prospects. And then the other part, I would say, which is a big benefit of YouTube, is the evergreen aspect of it, which is that you can create a video today and it can literally go on to perform for years to come, continue to attract the right type of people for multiple years from now on. And this level of leverage is something that you can't really find with any other content medium out there. Like a LinkedIn post dies after 2 days, 3 days, Instagram Reels, same thing pretty much. So YouTube is really something that is unique in that aspect, is that you can like stack multiple of these evergreen videos. And once you have these just working in the background, just consistently attracting the right type of people and generating leads, like you've just built yourself a lead generating machine that just works in the background. So I would say these two parts make it really, really powerful.
Yeah, those are such great points. I think I've never heard such a great pitch for people to jump onto YouTube specifically for SaaS businesses. So that's brilliant. I mean, the way you just explain why people should look at it. Now, there are several points there that I want to kind of dive deep into. You called out a word specifically and you said components. There are so many components on YouTube. Can you elaborate that further and break down those components for us? Because I think people would love to know what is it that they should start with.
100%. So yeah, it's a big misconception that when most people think about YouTube and doing YouTube, they think about, okay, I will maybe get a video editor who will edit my videos. I'll get out my camera, I'll record some videos, get my editor to do it, and then I'll be all set. But what we've seen is that the only way to really nail YouTube and get results from it is to nail every single component of it. And to answer your question, like what are these specific components? There's quite a few, and there's a reason why it's hard to nail it when you're like not in the YouTube world. So first of all, just the overall strategy and research, like just creating that initial content strategy of like, what are you going to talk about? What types of video ideas make sense to actually create? What you look at here is just really what type of videos will attract the right type of people, what type of videos are actually people interested in, and just really doing that research of like, first of all, who are my ideal clients, doing the customer research, then, okay, doing customer research on the base of what are their pain points, so you can create content that solve those, and then looking at YouTube to see like, okay, are there any proven concepts in my niche or in similar niches that I can use as packagings for my videos, so I can actually be sure that what I'm creating will actually reach people and not just try to create random videos and try to come up with ideas on my own. That's really like the strategy and research part of it, and that's the first step. And that's usually like the most important part of the process. If this is not done well, like nothing else will matter. But once, let's say you've like did this, you've came up with the content strategy, the video ideas. The next step is really like scripting out the videos without scripts, without planning, without consciously knowing like what you will say in what order, what call to actions, where you will make those call to actions, etc. It's very hard to make YouTube work. So that's a whole other thing of how you write YouTube scripts. I could talk about it for ages. We have like a specific, script writing department in our agency, and it's one of the biggest things that we focus on because it's so important. But yeah, there's a lot of things going on of like, first of all, nailing your hook, then knowing how to structure the body of the video, how you deliver the value, the points, then where you make the specific call to actions, in what tone, then how you do the outro. So there's a lot of stuff there. After that, the next component is recording. So that's the part that many people actually find tricky as well, because if you're not like a video expert, like you might not know how to set up your camera the best way, what equipment to use, etc. So that's also something we, for example, for our clients, we like have different resources we give them to know exactly like how to set up things, best practices, etc. But that's also a component that just adds extra complexity. After that, the next component, once you record videos, is just getting them like produced. The editing side of things, most people are aware of that stage, so that's not something I would say is a news to a lot of people, but still like editing is actually a big portion of it, just producing the videos. Then also thumbnails and just the overall packaging of like, okay, how do you actually create thumbnails that people will actually click on? Then how do you make sure that the thumbnail and the title work well together? So that's a very important part most people neglect. Like those two things are not really separate. They are like one packaging that makes like the overall packaging of the video. And then once you've done all that, also the SEO component of things of like, okay, what keywords you put in your description, what tags you use, etc. And then after that, you can finally upload your video once you've like nailed all of these components. And the last part after it is of like, okay, how do you promote these videos that you are putting out there? What do you do with them? Are you repurposing it? Are you promoting it on your newsletter, on LinkedIn? How should you do it? Etc. etc. So like all of these components that I mentioned is like what makes a good YouTube strategy.
Wow, this is such a masterclass. Now I want to go one by one into these. And before we go on to certain other aspects, I think the first one that you spoke about, which is around strategy. If there is a SaaS company, and please feel free to pick an example. I think Adam could be a great example. We know RB2B is the product that he is pushing. How do you decide a strategy? And you could take examples from how was Adam's strategy designed in a way that it converts people, just educates people, top of the funnel. I have multiple questions there, but let's hear it from you. How would you begin with someone to get on to the point of getting the right strategy?
Yeah, so there's two components of creating the strategy, and I touched on it already briefly. 50% of it will be your customer research, like the stuff that you know about your customers, okay, who you're targeting, what pain points they have, what is your unique differentiator compared to competitors, and all of that customer research. So at this stage, we don't even look at like YouTube. We just want to gather that customer research that our clients have done. So like whenever, let's say we start working with a new client, that's like the first step. We have like an onboarding form where they like give us all of that information. We might ask follow-up questions about that. And the reason we do that is like, sure, we can look at all the data on YouTube and do our research there. But if you don't have that like foundational customer research, then there's no point in doing any of the other stuff, because like we don't understand who we are targeting, what pain points we should focus on, etc. So like there's no point in doing that. So that's, I would say, the first 50% of it. I want
to ask you something before we go to the next part, because this is an important question and I would love to peel some layers of it. When you talk about customer research, let's pick up Adam's example. If you're selling to entrepreneurs, and I think he's possibly targeting startup entrepreneurs as well as now mid-market or SME segment. Is that right? That's kind of the audience. And you mentioned a lot of good points about researching the customer before you started building out your strategy. Now the question comes, okay, you've identified that it's going to be the CEOs, CMOs, or the founders themselves. What do you do now specifically to get deeper into questions related to these, so that you can get closer to identifying what is it that I'm going to talk about in my videos? Because their lives, like all of these guys that I spoke about, I could pick things like fundraising, marketing, startups have like 50 problems on a daily basis. So how do you go about it?
Yeah, the good thing is that like most SaaS solutions are solving a couple of very specific problems. Like most SaaS solutions are not solving, finance stuff, then marketing stuff, then sales stuff. It's always like usually like one specific problem they solve. In, our B2B's case is like very obvious, like just identifying website visitors. And then obviously there are a lot of different use cases to use that. But like most of it is like either retargeting people, reaching out to people, so that like, go-to-market strategies where like our B2B fits in really well. SaaS marketing, SaaS sales, etc. And that really helped us because once we started like identifying, okay, the ideal market that we were going after is like SaaS companies, more on like the starting stage. So like SMBs, mid-market maximum, that sort of target market is what's performing best for Adam so far. Once we like identified that, we also looked at like, okay, what are the pain points we are fixing? And then like, what are the biggest use cases? So like we went like a step further of like, okay, people start identifying their website visitors, but like, what do they do with it? What are the different workflows they set up? What do they pair it with? A big, use case is like using Clay or different cold outbound tools then with like our B2B together and like using it to, make their go-to-market strategy more powerful, their outbound. So these were the initial like topics that we started gathering, because these are naturally like where people will make use of our B2B. And this leads to the second part, like the other 50% of the research, which is the YouTube specific stuff. So like once we have the first 50% nailed, and we know like exactly who we're targeting, what are those differentiators, the pain points it's solving mainly, then we can go on YouTube and see exactly for the different topics and the different talking points that we want to talk about, what are the video concepts that are already performing well, what are the outliers, how are they doing their thumbnails, how are they structuring their titles.
Now there are tools like, I think vidIQ, SEMrush. I think SEMrush doesn't work on YouTube videos. vidIQ does, right? Yeah. So are we talking about tools like vidIQ that you would recommend to people to do this specific research, or you could just do it from YouTube Studio itself? How would you conduct it?
Yeah, so there are a couple of layers of that like whole research that we do at that stage. The good thing is that there's so much data on YouTube out there that you can find whatever you want in any niche, exactly what's working. You just have to know how to find it. So yeah, vidIQ is something that we use, but there's no real like tool that we found that just does the research for you. It's not like you just press a button or like use some AI tool to do it at this point. You have to go through like a lot of different manual steps as well and using different tools in the process. So the process that we follow is, first of all, using the YouTube search bar. That's the biggest thing. And you can search for a lot of different general topics and see, okay, the top videos that come up. For search, that's perfect to identify like, okay, what are the videos that are just ranking best on YouTube? And naturally, of course, it's best to do it on like an incognito tab. So you're not like influenced by your past searches. But other than that, like you can get a very good idea of like exactly what's working. And then you can click through each of those videos, identify the different titles formats that they have, the different thumbnail formats, and then also look at each of those channels that ranked, go on those channels and turn on vidIQ's feature called like outlier scores. And it basically just scores each of the videos based on like how much of an outlier they are. Not even like a score. I think it's called like a multiplier, outlier multiplier or something. And it just shows up when you like download the vidIQ Chrome extension. And what this allows us to do is like, we can go through any channel and like see the outlier videos of each of those channels. And let's say in Adam's example, like how this process looked like is we start like searching up a bunch of different keywords in the topics of SaaS marketing, go-to-market, SaaS cold email, all of these stuff. And we created a short list of the channels that are performing best in these different niches. Some of them might not be perfectly relevant. Like some of them may be more like just in the cold email space. Some of them are in like the marketing space, but not SaaS. But that doesn't matter because we can perfectly just integrate different outlier topics into our niche. And that sometimes even works better than just pulling topics from like other niches into ours. Is a really, really good strategy because those are already proven in other niches. We can just integrate it in ours. So that was really the strategy, creating the short list of those channels, then looking through each of those channels, sorting through the outlier videos that they have, then studying manually like, okay, what were those titles and thumbnails that really made that difference? And what were those like initial video concepts? Are these listicle videos? Are these challenge videos? Are these how-to videos? Like really just understanding like what type of videos work best. And then the last part of the process, once we have this data, is just turning it into videos that will be specific to our case, our solution. So like a good example of this was this one, or even like this video here. Not sure if you can see my cursor, but yeah, we'll just read the title. So like if I started the SaaS in 2026, I would do this 0 to 1,000 plus users. This title concept was used, like the same exact title concept, but not SaaS, was used in a bunch of other niches already and has been proven to work like really, really well. And you can see like it's became like Adam's best performing videos. It's like over 40K now. And the only thing that we did in terms of just packaging is like really taking that packaging idea, turning it into his niche, like specifically adapting it to his niche, which is SaaS and how to grow SaaS. The important thing is that we are not like copying people. We are only taking the packaging. So like we are not recreating the same video by no means. Like that just doesn't work on YouTube, like copying people, that doesn't work. But what really works in terms of packaging is like taking inspiration from others. And then for the actual content of the video, like if anyone watches this video, it's specifically Adam's strategies, his own thoughts, no copying, nothing. Like it's fully authentically just what Adam would do, like very deep into his expertise and very valuable. And that's why it works, because we've taken a proven packaging and then made a video about it that is like a lot more valuable than anything out there. And it just fully like leans in on his expertise and his unique differentiators, etc. And then to tie it back of like, okay, how are we actually linking it back to our solution? In his case, like he mentions our B2B in every single one of these videos that you can see here. Every single one of these videos mentions our B2B. So like, for example, for cold email is that here's what works in 2026. This video, how we linked it back to his solution, was saying that cold email traditionally is getting harder and harder. But if you use our B2B to identify your website visitors and then you cold email them, that really, really is an effective strategy. So yeah, these are just a couple of examples for that.
Yeah, no, I think these are brilliant examples. I kind of love the angle of getting inspired and not just copying anyone. There are many things to learn there. And I think one of the best things that you're doing is that it's unique to Adam's solution. And at the same time, it's getting inspired from videos that are doing well on YouTube already, which is what basically even what this is what they do in the movie industry, right? I mean, there are trends to be spotted. There are alien movies that get into fashion. Then there are times that, you have certain things and you try and ride off those micro fashion trends sort of, or micro trends. And I think that's a brilliant thing. So, I stopped you midway. This was the first thing that you spoke about that get deep into the audience. Now you're talking about SEO, and I think this is sort of SEO, right? I mean, you are technically linking the keywords, cold email, marketing, and you know that a lot of traffic on YouTube is search traffic. People discover videos because of search. So this is great. But now one major question that I often think people face is the balance between sales versus education or in entertainment. Now, in Adam's case, he's linking up RB2B in almost every video. Whereas if you listen to the gurus, their balance would be 80-20. They're going to say the reverse. They'll be like, 80% has got to be give them information. Don't sell. Don't even link your product. And then maybe 20% you're going to do that. So what's your take on that? Because seems like Adam's not doing 80-20. He's doing almost 100, right? I mean,
the important caveat there is that it doesn't mean like him mentioning RB2B in all of the videos doesn't mean that he's only talking about RB2B. So that rule still applies and we still follow it. It's like it's pretty, I would say it's a best practice when it comes to YouTube, the 80-20, 70-30, whatever. It's pretty much the same thing. But what's the caveat there is that it should apply not per video. So like it shouldn't be like for every 10 video in 7, you just only talk about value and like 3, you just talk about your product. It should be like inside one video, if that makes sense. So like inside one video, 70% of it should be the value. And then 30% of the video itself should be the call to actions, tying it back to your tool, etc. So like that's the important distinction is that rule still works, but it shouldn't be broken out into like multiple videos. It should be like put inside like one video, if that makes sense. So like in Adam's case, for example, and this is what we do for all of our clients, what we've seen works best is every video should contain call to actions towards your product, your service. But each of the videos, every video that you make should be value-based, should be solving a problem, should be just providing value, making it useful for people to watch. And then you should naturally will make those call to actions at specific parts of the video. But it's not like you just talk about your product. There is like short call to actions. 80-20 rule still works.
So you flipped the 80-20 rule in comparison to what everybody says, right? I mean, they were always talking about if you have 10 videos, do 8 that are just pure value, don't talk about your product. But you're saying, no, this is inside the video. So 80% of your video is that, and 20%, you basically talk about your product, which is great. Because, I mean, you're still tapping into the keywords and you don't know if the guy is going to come back. I want to go just here on a tangent and ask you, is this targeting top of the funnel customers or could it also be mid funnel or bottom funnel customers? I mean, usually, what do you see happening on YouTube?
Yeah, so it depends on the niche. There's like a bit more a caveat to this because for SaaS solutions where there's a lot of top of funnel traffic, so like cold email, SaaS marketing, all of that stuff, there's a lot of like traffic coming in, like people searching for it, topics blowing up, cloud code, all of that stuff, like AI niches. There's a lot of like top of funnel traffic. So usually the best way to go about it in those like specific cases, let's say you have like a solution similar to like, let's say Trigify, which can like be plugged in very well into like cloud code and like it's just a tool that can be used in these different workflows, then it really makes sense to capitalize on that like top of funnel traffic and set up a YouTube channel in a way where that's the primary goal is like capturing that top of funnel traffic. But let's say you have a SaaS solution that is a lot more niche. Like let's say you talk about procurement, you have like a niche procurement solution. There's a lot less top of funnel traffic there. You won't be able to get like tens of thousands of views with your videos. That's just not like realistic for most of these niche solution topics. So a lot better way to go about it is like still create videos that have like that are in topics that have decent search volume, but more focus on the middle of funnel aspect of it. Because if you already have marketing channels that are working, plugging in YouTube and having it as a middle of funnel place where you like direct traffic to, you put it out on your website, you put it out on your newsletter, you put it into your sales process so people can watch it before they book a demo, etc. That middle of funnel aspect of YouTube can still give you more than enough ROI because people will just be a lot more educated when they get on demos. The sales process will be a lot shorter. So you're still using YouTube in a really effective way. But because there's no huge top of funnel traffic, you use it more as a middle of funnel sales enablement tool sort of for your business, which can perfectly give you like a huge ROI depending on your business. But you have to be cautious of like which bucket you're in.
Okay, that's a good one. Would you consider balancing it out on a channel? For an instance, Adam's targeting top of the funnel, and I can clearly see that. I mean, this looks like top of the funnel content. Otherwise, he'll be talking directly about RB2B in the titles. Would you want him to mix bottom funnel or mid funnel at least here?
Yeah, 100%. So what we like to do with most of our clients is like still, mixing some videos that will be more middle of funnel, occasionally bottom of funnel, just because we want to create that funnel shape inside YouTube. So like have top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel videos inside our YouTube channel. So a couple of good ways to do that is like some videos will just naturally contain more of RB and more of linking back to our B2B. So we've even made like some videos that will like just truly like walking through the product and just really focusing on our B2B and like how it plugs into SaaS marketing go to market. With our other clients, we've done client interviews, for example, or client, case studies. These are perfect bottom of funnel videos. So like, let's say you hop on a call with one of your clients that you get great results for, and you create a YouTube video for that. That YouTube video won't be optimized to be like top of funnel and get the most amount of traffic, but it's a great sales asset, a great sort of tool to have in your arsenal to really like convert those people that already know you, but they need that bottom of funnel content to trust you and like book a call or start using your tool. So yeah, it's always a mix. We always want to like have some videos that are like middle and bottom of funnel as well.
All right. Okay. No, that's fair. SEO is a big, let's say, black hole, and AIO or GEO, whatever you want to call it, makes it even more complicated. Are you considering those two right now when you're building a strategy for your clients? Are they part of the mix already, or you're saying, let me just focus on YouTube and I leave them apart?
Yeah, so we mix it in, especially for clients that are heavy on SEO and there's like very good SEO terms on YouTube, and it's worth focusing on those. So there's like either they have blog posts that are already ranking well, and we can make like specific YouTube videos for those like same topics that they can embed on their blog posts to improve the rankings, and then also have those YouTube videos ranked naturally on for those search terms, and it makes a ton of sense. How we go about that always is like if there's enough top of funnel traffic on YouTube itself or YouTube specific topics, then it's worth focusing on that. But if there's more like traffic on the traditional SEO side of things, and like we feel like the ROI will be better if we focus more on that, then we incorporate more videos that are like just for like that SEO.
How do you find that? What is the tool that you use for that?
So it's a lot of it is like looking at the search volume on YouTube. So like just searching up different search terms. Let's say one of our clients is in like the procurement space. You can search up a lot of different best procurement software, AI in procurement, etc. And you will see, okay, the top videos, how many views they have, what's sort of a level of traffic that there is. With vidIQ, you can also see the views per hour that each of the videos are getting. So that gives you a good idea of like how many people are actually watching it per hour. And if you see
vidIQ is the tool. vidIQ is the tool that I think everybody should have in their kit, right? But yeah, okay, I get it. So that's what you do. I mean, you look at the volume.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you get like a very good idea. And then you can also ask, we also ask our clients like, okay, do you have like an SEO report with like the best performing blogs and how much traffic those have? And when we compare the two, we can see like where it makes more sense to put more weight on.
All right. Now, SEO is a big question when it comes to YouTube, and I think it's an important part of cracking YouTube. Now, you had multiple other recommendations, and I wanted to kind of go deeper into it. So when you spoke about, the client research, figuring out SEO, deciding on the strategy, I think we've covered a lot of ground. I have a few free-floating questions around some of the most important topics that have been asked on our channel, or, people using our platform have come across these issues themselves. Production is a big question that even I think of at times. There was a time right after COVID when online videos were okay. Like this is happening right now. You're sitting in Hungary, I'm sitting in another part of the world, and we're doing this virtually, right? There was a time when people will not recommend that. And they're going to say that, you know what, get into a single room podcast studio. That's going to get you the views that you're really targeting. But I see amazing guys on YouTube doing tremendous work and getting amazing views with this format. Have you seen Greg Eisenberg? Yeah, I mean, Greg does content like this, which is just demos and like we are talking right now, right? So what's your take on this, and how would you recommend the format and production quality?
Yeah, so the format that we've seen work best is talking head in general on YouTube. In our experience, it works better than podcast format in most cases. It also works better than like vlogs and stuff like that. So like the general winner is always like talking head videos at this point. Some people ask like, okay, can you use AI avatars or stuff like that? We've yet to see those work. So at this point, it's not good enough. Maybe in like a year or so it will be. I don't know. But currently it's like authentic, screen talking head, and that's the winning format. And really, it depends on the niche, because for some niches, screen share format works very well. So like talking head plus sharing your screen as well, using something like Riverside, for example, to that like just records your screen very well. That's a great option. But for some niches, its screen shares are not relevant, and you just do talking head. That's also what's working very well for those niches. So yeah, I would say talking head. Obviously, if you do podcast, then it will be like podcast format. But generally speaking, like we've seen the best results with talking head videos.
Yeah, and I think that's what Adam does, but he has a few webinars plugged in as well, if I'm not wrong. I think some of those.
Yeah, so we have a separate channel for that. We've actually decided to create a separate channel, because it's very important that on YouTube, you can't really do multiple formats on one channel, because people just subscribe and like want to come back for like one specific type of video. So it's a lot better to like split the two. Let's say if you decide to do like talking head videos as well outside of the podcast, it might make sense to split those as well. And that's what I recommend, and what we did for Adam as well. If we still had his webinar, podcast, whatever you want to call it, recordings on his main channel, then we would be nowhere near the size that we are and the performance that we are with that channel right now, because it just really mixes things up and usually just hurts the performance overall.
Yeah. No, that's such a brilliant insight. And I think a lot of people don't kind of think about it. I have seen even super raw videos doing well, like really bad, shaky cameras. I mean, we all know Mr. Beast kind of not just started like that. There are tons of videos that show up on YouTube and they do well. So what's your take on that in terms of quality of, the setup of the scene and the shooting quality? Would you recommend everybody who's listening to buy like an expensive camera, lighting? What's your take?
Yeah, so it's kind of the 80-20 rule. Like you want to nail the things that will get you like 80% of the results and not focus on that last 20%, because you don't need a professional like studio or like a $10,000 camera to make YouTube work. Like many of my clients and even myself records on an iPhone, which is nowadays is like perfect for recording. Like it's definitely good enough, but there's definitely like a set of things that you want to nail in order to make the videos watchable, which is first of all like decent lighting. So lighting should come from the front, from where your camera is, and there should be either natural light or some good like softbox that lights your face properly. If the light is coming from the back or from the side and it's weird, like that really just hurts the quality. The other important thing is sound quality as well. Like that's even more important than visual quality. If the sound is bad, then videos won't really be watchable. So you don't need a crazy expensive microphone, but like at least buying some sort of either wireless microphone or like these like lavalier mics that are like pretty cheap but do the job. Like those are already good. Yeah. But you need a microphone, and you can just do like from a shitty, internal microphone or something, because that just doesn't work.
Yeah. No, I have my favorite mic right here. I really love the DJI Mini. I think this is just so brilliant. So 2 mics come in the box. I don't know if you've seen it, but fantastic noise cancellation quality. And from a camera perspective, I think you're really right. I mean, iPhone does a fantastic job now. It's better than most of the DSLRs that you're going to get, like sub $2,000 kind of. It competes with them. So no, I think those are some brilliant points. Now from here, I want to kind of just dive on a tangent to one of the most important points. And I'm cognizant of the time. I think we have possibly about 10, 15 minutes more. I want to dive into pipeline. Let's run the playbook so whatever you suggested, let's say somebody has done those. Now they're getting maybe a few thousand views. It's growing. What are the steps somebody should take in a SaaS company that constantly drives either demos or maybe installs? I don't know. What's your take? And you've looked at almost 40 companies do this now. So I'm super eager to hear about this.
Yeah. So the biggest thing after you've nailed the customer research, the YouTube specific research, you've nailed the scripting, you've nailed the editing, etc. The only thing that really is left is the call to actions, because that will determine how well you're able to convert the traffic that you're getting. There's a specific call to action strategy we use, which is we put 2 specific call to actions in each of the videos that we create. And one of them at around the 33. Yeah.
2. Are you saying 2 in every video?
At every video, there's 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hear more.
The first one is at the 33% mark of the video, around there, which will be a shorter, softer call to action because we don't really want people to click off. So we don't want to make like a very direct call to action because people would just click off. We want to be, just very short, very brief, just naturally mention it. And then at the very end, we do the second call to action, which is longer, more direct. And that's really where we get the most amount of conversions. The first one is really just to like scoop the people up that are like already invested enough and like interested enough to take that next step and click the first link in the description. Then at the end, we make like a more direct call to action. So to give you an example, like the middle one could be like, by the way, if you want to start using our B2B to identify your website visitors for free, then click the first link in the description. Now let's get back to the video. So like very short, very smooth.
That's a very
then at
nice
the end,
one.
it can be a little bit longer. So like, let's say the video was about like cold email. You've explained like how our B2B kind of solves it, makes it better. You can say, something at the end of like, and by the way, if you want to implement everything that I've just talked about in this video and really start running this new playbook for cold email, then you can click the first link in the description and check out our B2B, which is a software I built for this. It's free to get started, XYZ. And it's like a longer, more direct one. We make it a little bit more persuasive there, but that's really the playbook, like making call to actions like this in every single video. And if you nailed all the steps before that, then everything just comes together.
And then you're also putting links in description for people to go check out something or get a discount coupon so that even people who are just floating around reading the description get some kind of a redirection, right?
Yeah. So we always want to put the call to action link at the top of the description. So like first line should be that. And yeah, either like a free offer, a lead magnet, or just like a sign up or book a demo is enough. You don't necessarily, like we rarely do like these discounts or stuff like that. If you've done the video well, a free sign up, a book a demo or stuff like that works well enough.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And I think call to action is one of the things that people talk about. Greg Eisenberg has one of the most popular videos where the entire stress is upon conversion, that people do tons of stuff, achieve a lot of traffic, but if the call to action is missing, all of that goes to waste. So I think this is a fantastic idea. I think this is gold here. I didn't think about this 33% and you're qualifying people. So somebody who goes to the end is like super hot lead. When somebody works with you, you have an elaborate process. How far do you go helping people through the journey? All the steps that you're mentioning, are you going to handle almost every single one of them? And I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. A lot of people listening to us would not be able to afford a professional or an agency like you. So they are thinking, okay, you know what? I'm going to bootstrap and do it myself. A lot of people are going to say that, you know what? I want to talk to you. So those are the two questions. If you talk to me about how far do you go?
Yeah, so we try to handle as much as we can for our clients, pretty much everything. Yeah, just to give you like a quick run through, we handle everything apart from the actual recording itself. So we start with gathering the customer research from our clients. Then we plug in the YouTube specific research to come up with the initial strategy. And once we have that, we start with the scripting. So for scripting, we handle it entirely. We scrape our clients' already existing content, every single content piece that they put out, so we can make sure to nail their voice, use their methodologies in the videos, etc., etc. And yeah, once we write the scripts, we just send it over to them, and their only job is recording. So that's kind of the only thing that we don't handle is the actual recording part. That usually takes like 2 to 4 hours per month for our clients in total. So like that's the total time investment is 2 to 4 hours. And yeah, once they record it, which as I said, we still help with. So like we still provide SOPs and like some guides that can help them with best practices, etc. Once they record it, they send it over to us and we do everything else. So we edit the videos, create the thumbnails, do the SEO for each of the videos, schedule it on that channel, then also have them plug it into their LinkedIn. If they have an email list also there or any other platform they are pushing out content on, we have them plug it in there. So yeah, the only thing really is like the recording part that they have to do.
That is like super awesome to hear. How many videos would that be? So you said 2 to 4 hours of video effort that they have to put in. What's your ideal duration for a single video? I mean, there are so many conflicting thoughts on that too. So what's your recommendation and what your clients end up doing?
Yeah. So first of all, we always recommend 4 videos per month, especially to start with. So around 1 video per week is the sweet spot. And yeah, that's the 4 videos per month is what takes 2 to 4 hours per month of work and recording. Yeah. In terms of video length, so average is 8 to 50 minutes, but it really depends on the video topic and video idea. Some videos will require it to be a little bit longer. Some videos will be a little bit shorter, but on average, you think about like 8 to 15 minutes.
8 to 15. But I mean, podcast episodes could run way longer. But I get what you're saying. Fantastic. Now, what are the kind of investments that somebody would be making when they hire an agency as good as yours? If that's okay to kind of, talk about on the pod.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no worries. Our retainers range anywhere from like $2,000 per month to $6,000 per month. Currently, that's sort of the price range that we operate at. This depends on a couple of factors of exactly how many videos per month, also how much we have after. So like how many LinkedIn posts we give you after, how many emails we give you after from each of the videos, and at what level of the process we are involved in. But yeah, that's sort of the range that we operate at. I can speak of other YouTube agencies. I would say that we are on the more expensive and more elite side of the spectrum because of the results that we have and the specific B2B experience. We don't really have like a lot of competitors in the B2B and SaaS space, which is great. But yeah, that's what I would say.
That's so good. How can people reach out to you? I mean, I think that's something that we should kind of always highlight, because a lot of people listening to us would want to do that.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm most active on LinkedIn. Anyone who wants to like be in contact with me can find me on LinkedIn. Also, I'm happy to jump on a call. Feel free to book a call with me. We have a website. The domain is ks-media.co, but it's also on my LinkedIn.
Well, we'll drop the links. Yeah, we'll drop the links in description so people can find you. I think this is brilliant. Now, one of the questions that I always want to ask my guests when I leave, unspecific advice that if you had to leave people with, entrepreneurs trying to start their journey on YouTube, what would that be? And you can only choose one. What would that be?
I mean, I would say just stay consistent. If you stay consistent, like sooner or later you will hit it. Sure, you'll need to find the right person to help you or learn the stuff yourself. But if you don't give up, like eventually you'll make it. So yeah, if I only have to choose one, that's what I would say. But it's hard if I can only choose one.
Yeah, and how long should they stick with it? I mean, are you saying years, months, days?
Yeah, so if they work with someone like us, we usually able to get starting results around like 3 months or so. That's usually the time frame when you're starting from zero. First couple of leads will start coming in around the 3-month mark. Then around the 6-month mark is where it's like fully consistent and like a reliable channel. And the 6 to 12-month range is where you like successfully built an engine that just works in the background. If you're not working with us, if you're working with, let's say you try to do it yourself or alone, it's hard to say, like it can be years. And again, like that's the part where you want to be cautious of like not just wasting your time, but like at least getting some help from people that you can maybe afford or you have the resources for, just to just don't waste your time putting out mindless content, but actually have a strategy behind it. But yeah, if you work with the right people, then couple of months for the first couple of leads and then like 6 to 12 months for like to fully build out the engine.
Wow, that's super awesome. Thank you so much. This has been awesome, Samu. Really appreciate the time, and I hope we can do this again. There's so much that you were able to unravel for us and people who are listening in right now. Like I said, YouTube's a box that not many people understand, and it's super important to be focusing on multiple channels at this point. So thank you so much for joining us and sharing all this information.
Yeah, appreciate you, Kinner, and yeah, thank you for having me.